Hello and welcome to the hands-on section. In this hands-on section, I'm going to show you how to create an end-to-end interfaces with REST receiver adapter. So we're going to consume a REST API from AEX machine, right? And we're going to make a call using the REST receiver adapter. Okay. So this is a diagram that basically show you an end-to-end message flow, and it's an interface design diagram showing a very high-level overview of which systems are involved. On the source system, we have an HTTP sender, so we will just predict that we push the message using the HTTP sender protocol to AEX, and then we will use the REST API that's available on the WordPress, right? So I have a site wherein I have a WordPress installed on it, so I will consume the REST API that is being released by the WordPress itself. So I'm going to show you what is that REST API in WordPress and what is the plugin that I've installed to call from AEX. But as of now, imagine the scenario that you're using a HTTP sender to a REST JSON API, then calling via receiver adapter, REST receiver adapter. That's basically I'm calling as example 2. So that's a short code. Whatever objects that I create, I use example 2. So this diagram basically talks about all the interface names and the business system name that we have that we'll use for the interface development. And remember that the sender system and the receiver system we have used in example 1, I'm going to reuse that. Even the name I have changed from example 1 to example 2, and then the protocol name from HTTP to REST. This is the object list which has software component that we have previously created in example 1. Then I have changed the namespace. Then we will create a subfolder under REST API, right? And that folder name will call as HTTP to REST. Then we will have the two business component which we'll reuse, and we have developed this business component in example 1. So if you don't know how to create the business component, then refer to the example 1. And sender interface, service interface we will use as example 2, and that's the short notation. We will not create in ESR, right, like we did in example 1. We'll directly just specify it in the configuration. We'll create two communication channel. One is sender and receiver, sender of type HTTP, REST receiver of type receiver, right? Then the REST API, I'm going to show you where I got this API from, and I'm going to show you what are those parameters and how to access this REST API. The ESR objects is none. Basically, I'm not going to create any of the object because I'm going to use HTTP sender. Then I'm going to use like a test messaging tool from PIMon to trigger the message to this HTTP sender, and then I'm going to send that data maybe to create a post in the WordPress using the REST API in the WordPress. Okay, so let's go ahead and create the interface. Before that, I'm going to show you what is that REST API and also what is the plugin that I've installed on the WordPress. Okay, so let me show you what is the REST API that is exposed in the WordPress. So I'm in the wordpress.org site, and you type REST-API. So this is a handbook of how to create a post or how to access WordPress using the REST API. Basically, when you install WordPress, the latest version, you get the REST API built in. Means you can download your post, you can create a post, you can delete a post, you can work with comments and everything just by accessing the REST API that is provided with the WordPress. So that's a good feature that we already have. So we'll try to use this. So the example that I want to do is I want to create a post using our AEX channel, and we'll call the REST API that is provided by WordPress, and we will try to post the data to this REST API, create the post. Okay, so instead of using the WordPress API, there's another plugin called JSON API plugin. It is very simple to use compared to WordPress because you can pass the data everything in the query parameters. I'm going to show you that how you're going to do that. And it's very simple, lightweight. It in the background it uses a REST API. It provides a wrapper to the WordPress, and very simple to use, and easy to understand format. So if you head over to 2.2 section of this plugin, it actually talks about how to handle the posts. So if you want to create a post, right, so there are these page handlers, right, page controller methods. Basically it's nothing but an API again which is used to create a post. Yeah, so you have to create the post, right, you have to pass all these parameters in the URL slugs and as a query parameter, and once that is parameter sent, then the then the post has been created. So if you head over to potraining.com/blog, we will create a post from AEX here, right? We will use this plugin and then we will pass the data to this REST API, and the REST API will in turn create a blog for us here, right? So that's basically the scenario we are testing here, and the REST is basically the receiver side. So the sender side we will use HTTP, so we will use some testing tool to trigger the message using the HTTP sender, and once the message pass over to this API will go ahead use this plugin to create the post in the WordPress. So once we execute, we should see a new post here. When we just refresh this one, we should see a post here by created by our AEX machine. Okay, that's what the example we're going to work on.